Hi, everyone, and welcome to Real Life Talks. I'm your host, Yvonne Heath, author of the book Love Your Life to Death, and founder of the I Just Showed Up movement. So I'm so happy to continue this wonderful conversation, part two of conversation with the lovely John Dickout. Hello, John. How are you? He's still with us.
Fantastic.
Oh, so great. So this has been an extraordinary journey, and this is actually really it's part three of his story because it started with my interview with Rick Prashaw. I encourage everyone to watch that show as well. And Rick shared an extraordinary journey. At the end of that show, I said, I'm sorry, I need to talk to John. And here we are. And I started to chat with John. We said, we need to continue this story. It has to be part one, part two, because there's so much to it. So, John, thank you so much for everything that you are and everything that you continue to be. You are an extraordinary person. I wish I could hug you right now. So for those who did not see part one, which I encourage you to watch, John has shared this unbelievable journey of being a very healthy guy to needing a heart transplant. And I mean, that was just a roller coaster of emotion for you, for your family, your wife, your two daughters, and your life changed on that day. Your life changed when your heart was failing you, and then it changed again on a day in the winter when you received your heart transplant. And what day was that, John?
January 25th, 2016.
So on January 25th, 2016, you were given the chance at a new life, for your life to continue. And so I'd love you to share a little bit about, you get that call, and it was your third call of getting a heart. The first two were, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine. The first two did not work out. So when you got this third call, are you thinking like, I hope this one works out?
No, the gal that called, it probably was helpful that it was the same person 2 nights in a row. I was pretty confident that because she said, no, we have another heart and this one's for you. So, and had already dealt with a lot of the real roller coaster of emotions. So I was pretty calm. In fact, my wife doesn't think this is as funny as I do, and the nurses that were there at the time. But as I was on the cot being rolled down out of my room and toward the operating room. I looked back at Lynn, my wife, and said, geez, I hope we made the right decision. Just as we kissed. Yeah, she didn't find the humor in that. But anyhow, we did. And it was a couple of days before I really remember that I really have any memory of things after that. But boy, it sure wasn't long before I realized what a difference it was going to make and has made. I mean, a couple days after kind of being conscious, I was sitting up at the edge of the bed, and the day or two after that, starting to take laps around the hospital floor. I was home in 2 weeks, and within a couple of months, I think it was about 2 months after I was home, and I was really regularly trying to exercise, and at that time that just meant walking around our small home. And I started walking up and down the stairs within the first couple of weeks of being home. And I think it was about less than 2 months, and Lynn was upstairs, and I had been downstairs, and Lynn heard this thump, 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 and she's, what, John, what? What happened? I said, I ran up the stairs. She thought I had fallen down, but I decided to try to run up them, and I haven't really stopped since then. It was remarkable. I felt, and Lynn will tell you, within hours of me waking up after surgery, I had color back in my face, and some of the things you don't think about, but not all. The heart obviously is is the pumping blood to all the organs of the body, and and oxygen. So when it's not working right, nothing is working right. And so my kidneys were failing. I was on dialysis for a short while in recovery. It's just a day or so, or half a day. But one of the things I hadn't thought about is, like, the hair on my arms and legs and stuff had almost completely disappeared. It just wasn't growing. And I hadn't seen a vein for a couple of years because they're just, there's no blood pumping. So I remember a couple of nights in the hospital shortly after, I woke up, and I was laying next to Lynn was sitting at the bed next to me, and I said, "Can you feel that? Can you feel the bed shaking?" For me, it felt like the whole bed was just because my heart was beating so hard. I hadn't felt anything like that for so long, and it was amazing how fast I started feeling better again, and better than I had for 3 or so years pre-transplant. So,
oh my goodness. Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, all of those things that we wouldn't think of, and you started to feel well fairly shortly after, which is also amazing. And I know something else that you felt very shortly after was extreme gratitude.
Yeah.
For your donor. See, that really chokes me up. So tell us about that.
It was the gratitude was overwhelming. After a few years of, you don't expect to ever think about this stuff, but I wasn't allowed to lift anything over 10 pounds. So I thought, I didn't know if I'd ever lift a grandchild. I didn't know if I'd be alive to see either of my daughters married. It was just, and then within days post-transplant, all of that's coming back. And so I had to find a way to thank a lot of people. And I remember breaking down. I think we were on the Queenie driving home from Toronto to our home in Niagara. And Lynn said, "What's wrong?" I said, I was trying to, in my head, I was writing out thank you letters to my doctors and nurses, but most importantly to my donor family. And so I guess it was early February. I was home February 8th, and I think February 16th I started writing my first iteration of letter, which was vetted a couple of times because I had way too much detail in there. It has to be completely anonymous. So February 25th, I finally had the final draft that went to my transplant coordinator, who was sent to Trillium Gift of Life, and then to my donor family. And then on April 30th, I believe it was, I received a return letter. And it was the most extraordinary letter I've ever read, and I've read it a dozen times, or a couple dozen, I'm sure. And really, I didn't have any real expectation that I would hear back from them necessarily. It wasn't about that. It was getting out into the universe, even, that of my gratitude. It was really overwhelming. I was given my life back, and all these things I had to say thank you for. In the letter that I received back from my donor family, my donor's mom made mention of, "We'd be interested to hear your progress." And I felt an instant connection through the letter anyway, just because I sensed so much love for their son, but also humor. And, I really felt an instant connection. And so with that, what I thought was some invitation to stay in touch, I immediately started sleuthing. I'd been sleuthing since the day I got home anyway, trying to figure out who my donor might be, to no avail. but there were some clues in their letter. They talked about their son being a hockey goalie and suffering from epilepsy and having brain surgeries and seizures. He loved hockey and was a goalie. And they found out some information, some things about him during a celebration of life they had. So I just went to Google and plugged in young man, January 25th or January 24th, 2016, because I knew that's when he would have had to have passed. Goalie, seizure. It was like 5 or 6 words, and the very first thing that came up was an obituary for Adam Prashaw. And when I read it, I could tell it was that much of the letter I'd received had been written by the same person, because some of the phrasing was the same, talking about their son. So now I thought, what do I do with this? So I spent 2 days soul searching and reflecting, but also trolling Rick Prashaw on on Facebook, unbeknownst to him. Mm-hmm. And so I knew an awful lot about Rick and Adam, and Rick and Adam's mom, Suzanne, but not as much. She was a lot less active on Facebook. But I didn't know what to do. I wasn't sure reaching out to them would be the right thing. So I created a fake email account from which I created a fake Facebook account just called First Name Heart, Second Name Recipient, and sent an anonymous note to Rick Prashaw and basically just saying, I'm 99% sure that I'm your son's heart recipient, and I hope I'm not adding more grief by reaching out, but if there's any interest in connecting through email or whatever, I would love to do that. If you don't want to hear from me, we can continue to correspond anonymously through the Trillium Gift of Life network, and so that's where the relationship began. And by the way, Rick doesn't like to tell this story, but it was 3 days after that before I got his reply. And so I spent 3 days in agony thinking, what have I done? Oh my gosh. But he was obviously in a horrific place of grief still, and just busy with a lot of things and forgot about it. And so he accepted my friendship and then just forgot. And so 3 days later, I finally got a note back, and I'll never forget it because his first message was hi. His second message, the little bubbles come up. Yeah. Second message was, oops, hit send too fast there. And I just thought, that's hilarious. I could just see this poor guy didn't mean to hit send. And then I think next to that he said something about, this feels like a meeting in an underground parking lot at midnight. And so I knew we were going to be fast friends, and we certainly have. We share not only a heart, but a sense of humor and love for sports and all that kind of stuff. So.
Oh my goodness. So here we are with this beautiful connection with, I love Rick Prashaw.
Me too.
Yeah. He is love, and how much he loved and continues, because love never dies, his son Adam. And so having Rick on the show was extraordinary. And then at the end of the show, we talked about the fact that Adam, sadly, had a challenging journey, and then had 2 brain surgeries, was seizure free, and then sadly had a fatal seizure in a hot tub. Mm-hmm. And part of that hard, challenging story was Rick's just unending love for his son, and he wrote a book, Soar Adam Soar, and this incredible picture that was taken probably moments before his seizure in that hot tub. And he shares in this book this incredible journey of love, and Adam, who was born a female, Rebecca, and knew as life went on that he was meant to be a boy, and he was Adam, and shares this journey with, and he I mean, Adam just had this village of love around him throughout his epilepsy, throughout his transgender journey. And I know how much it meant to Rick to connect with you, the Adam's Heart recipient, a man. Mm-hmm. And I love, John, that you accept all of who Adam is. Was there ever, here, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I mean, even just hearing about the epilepsy and the transgender journey, did that cause you any anxiety? Was that just, you had this strong beating heart? Was that enough? Tell me about that part of your journey.
Yeah, it's interesting because, anticipating this question, and it's not the first time I've had it. Mm-hmm. And Rick and I joke, and when he first asked me about that, I said, Rick, I'm in the entertainment business. There may be a few LGBTQ people around. It's not like it's something new.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit of a flippant response, and I honestly, I remember reading the obituary the first time, but I don't remember when I noticed it. I don't remember when it was never a thing. It was just, I just remember Adam, and I remember the story of Rebecca, but I don't remember any moment when, oh my God, mm-hmm. It just didn't occur to me. I have some very good friends from the LGBTQ community, and I remember talking to them about it and wanting to share that news, but I don't remember it becoming a thing. Like, it was just, that was who Adam was. And yeah, I don't know.
Well, that just makes me love you even more, John. I already love you and Rick, because the truth is, and I mean, I'm very passionate, a very passionate advocate about, we all have value and we all matter, regardless of age, race, culture, sexual orientation, economic situation, whatever. We are all human. We all have value. We all matter. And, our organs are our organs. If I need a heart transplant, yes, please, I'll sign me up for whoever, and I think that's a beautiful, important part of the fact that you share this story. And you and Rick have formed this tremendous friendship. And I always, when in my work, I meet people that have had excruciating grief and loss in their life, and they say, how can I go on? And two things that have come to me as a gift to share with people: be the evidence that someone's life made a difference. Yeah. And you and Rick and the family are certainly doing that in the book, Soar Adam Soar, and taking the grief and challenging experience and loss and creating something meaningful from that, creating something positive, making a difference for people. So that is happening through the book. And there's just the stories, the letters you share in the book, the letters that you sent to each other. First of all, I think everyone should read the book. Second of all, make sure you have a box of tissue with you when you read these letters. My heart was just so full of love and grief and joy and all of it. It's heartwarming, heart-wrenching. It's all of it. And you and Rick have this beautiful love for Adam and gratitude for his life. And you're continuing to share the message and your story. So share other ways you've shared the story. I just think it's so wonderful.
Well, there's been a few. We're actually working together right now on a video podcast that we've just recorded. Now we're doing some editing and stuff with a couple of guys to fill out our team. So that'll be interesting. But it kind of came from when Rick first had his book published. He did a tour of Canada, really, where he was doing readings and things. And so I joined him on a few of those, and gave us an opportunity to tell a bit of our stories and talk about the things we've talked about today. And there's been a few different things. When I first decided to foray or jump in as an actor, the first thing I auditioned for was a student film, and I ended up getting this role. And on the way to a shoot one day, the director was asking me, why did you, at this age, what made you become an actor? And so I told him the story, and I said it was a thing on the, an item on a list that I had written, to-do list, post-transplant to-do list. And he said, I kind of said, what else is on the list? And so I told him the items, and one of the items on the list was to run 10K in under 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And he jumped right on that. Unbeknownst to me, he had, by the end of that drive, I think he was in touch with his classmates and his professor, and pitched the idea of the school doing a documentary. So they've created this short doc called The Racing Heart, where they followed, and they actually found a 10K for me to run in Ottawa. Mm-hmm. So Rick and Suzanne and my family were there at the finish line. And so then it was, this started to get some legs, this documentary. We ended up going to London, Ontario. We went to California, where it was screened. And so having the opportunity to talk about our story after the filming, mm-hmm. or screening, I should say. So there's been all kinds of things. The interviews I was on As It Happens on the CBC. Should I mention other networks? Sorry. But, and we were interviewed on CBC News World. There's been lots of opportunities. People, it's a cool story. And they don't always, we both think it's the best thing ever, and it has been tremendous for both of us and our families. But a lot of people, a lot of transplant recipients find it extraordinarily difficult. Mm-hmm. They don't know what to say or how to say it. A lot of transplant families or donor families don't necessarily want contact. And I respect and understand that. So we're lucky that it turned out as fantastic as it has. So certainly we both have in mind that we want to share not so much the message of connecting the two, but the message of the importance and significance of being a donor. It's a couple minutes of your time to go online and sign up for something that'll probably never, the chances are, as you said previously, you've got a lot greater chance of needing a transplant, mm-hmm. than ever being a donor. Mm-hmm. And yet you might just give somebody their life.
Well, so something that's so incredible is the Transplant Games in Toronto. What year was that? That
was August of 2016.
So you were there competing, and Rick came to cheer you on. Yes. My husband Jordy and I were there sharing our Love Your Life to Death message, and I was in awe. And that was truly, I was always passionate about organ donation, but two things that I heard there. First of all, there were people there from 2 to 90.
Yeah.
All ages, and people were so incredibly grateful. And one thing I heard, I said, wow, most of these people would not be alive if it wasn't for organ donation. And someone corrected me and said none of them would be. And the second thing was Sherry, a lovely woman I've interviewed in the past, whose husband Bob has had transplant, is a liver recipient and bone marrow, and she said organ donation doesn't save individuals, it saves families. And the gratitude and the joy of everyone there was contagious. I felt like I was levitating. I was just so uplifted. It was extraordinary, John. And so the fact that you are sharing this story in any way you can, and encouraging people to be donors, as I am, which once again, hello, beadonor.ca. I have my pin, I have my ribbon. Be a donor and register before you have to have the conversation. When you are young and healthy, before a diagnosis. Again, I've been that nurse at the bedside and someone is on life support, and we have to have that horrible conversation, right? We can eliminate that angst of it. Let's just normalize registering as organ donors and save families. It's an incredible gift. And I also, sorry, and now I'm getting passionate, I have to stop. But the thing is that have the hard conversation. What do you fear? Why haven't you registered? Talk about your fears. What's stopping you? And I promise you will feel a sense of relief, right? A sense of relief. I called my son when he was 17 out west. I said, awkward conversation coming up. We're talking about organ donation. We never have to have that conversation again. And thank goodness Adam's mom had that conversation with Rebecca when she was getting her license. So she knew, right? You didn't have to think about it. And look at what has happened since then.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary. And so John, where can people find all of this? I want to see the shows. I want to see everything.
Oh gosh. I guess Google's probably the best bet. Racing Heart has a website.
Okay. Oh,
with trailers for it. I'm sure on Rick's author page,
yes,
or either of our Facebooks, pages.
We'll find you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We advertise what we do.
Yes. John, I cannot thank you and Rick enough. Thank you for having the courage to reach out to Rick. Thank you for being a voice for change. Everyone, watch or read the book, Soar Adam, Soar. Find John, find everything, and most importantly today, register at beadonor.ca, right? Thanks so much, John. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for joining us for Real Life Talks. This is a show about learning how to just show up for yourself and others, and sometimes have challenging conversations, but amazing conversations. So if you want to be able to just show up for yourself and others, my call to action, as always, plan your life, plan your death, including register as an organ donor, and then just love your life to death. And always bring your own tambourine to the party. Bye for now.